Welcome into the I-80 Boys podcast. We got Ole Miss versus LSU this weekend, Christian. This should be a good one. I'll talk about Ole Miss here quick. Look, they're 5-1. They beat Furman this year, Middle Tennessee State, I believe, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, your boys down there. The loss to Kentucky, that was kind of a shocking one. And then they did beat South Carolina last week. So Ole Miss, and we don't talk about them a ton on here because they finally played a couple decent teams the last couple weeks. Their offense, yeah, we know Jackson Dart's the man. They're averaging 44 points per game, Christian, 10th in the country, second in total offense, 24th in rushing offense, second in passing. I mentioned him, Jackson Dart. He's got impressive numbers so far this year. You can say what you want, how they haven't played a ton of great teams. That's fine. The kid's still putting up numbers, 127 for 173 on the year, 2,100 yards. That's a lot. 13 touchdowns with just 2 interceptions. Now, the running back, Henry Parrish, man, this kid's looked really good too. Like I said, Ole Miss is a pretty balanced team on offense. Without Quinshon Judkins, which I thought might hurt Ole Miss this year a little bit with him transferring over Ohio State, really hasn't. He's got 91 carries for 570 yards, 9 touchdowns on the year. And then their receiver, man, nobody talks about this kid, Trey Harris, dude. This kid's a stud too. He's a monster on the outside. He's got 52 receptions for 885 yards and 5 touchdowns. They got guys out there too, like Juice Wells, Caden Lee. Ole Miss has got a slew of wide receivers and a lot of weapons. Doesn't surprise me with the Lane Kiffin led team here. So no doubt in my mind, Ole Miss definitely got one of the better offenses in the country here. As far as the defense goes, they've been pretty damn solid for Ole Miss, man. I used to harp on Lane Kiffin and his defenses. We're going to find out this weekend what they are. They're only giving up 7.5 points per game, Christian. That's third in the country right now for an Ole Miss team. They're 12th in total defense. And nobody can run the ball against them. Get this stat. They're number 1 in the country in rushing yards allowed with just 63. So some of that is, yes, who have you played? Kentucky, South Carolina struggle to run the football. I get that. They're 59th in passing yards allowed. And one thing Ole Miss is really great at, just like Oklahoma, who we talked about earlier, they're going to get the quarterback. They lead the nation in sacks right now. They got 24 of them. It's a shit ton. So, yeah, Ole Miss looking good, both sides of the ball. As far as that goes, Christian, I'll kick it over to you for LSU.
Yeah, Chris, LSU's had a very weird season so far. Starting with that loss to USC, right? That was a magical game. I think we all agreed. A little more time, maybe LSU could have pulled something out. After that, they had to come back against South Carolina. That was a very weird game to watch too. If you bet on that game like we did, you were kind of pissed off because it was a weird game to watch. Then they struggled at home against UCLA. They still won that game, I think, by multiple scores, but they struggled for a while against UCLA. Here's the thing I want to kind of talk about, though. Still, they're 4-1, which is, in this weird college football season that we're doing or going through right now, that's all that matters. Okay, just win. Doesn't matter how you win at this point. Just keep winning. Look, Garrett Nussmeier, he's played pretty good this year. He's already got 17 total touchdowns, and 1,600 yards. The thing I like about this offense is they spread the ball around. Look for Kyron Lacey, Mason Taylor, and Aaron Anderson to get a lot of looks in this one. The run game did take a hit with John Emery going down in the first game, but again, true freshman Caden Durham, he's like the best option back there. I don't know what it is this year about true freshman running backs, like looking better than some guys that have been around for a while. Caden Durham, he's going to be special. Should he choose to stay at LSU, even if he doesn't, he's going to be a good player. On offense, this matchup actually is good for LSU, right? They struggle to run the ball, and Ole Miss is number 1 at stopping the run in the country. But Ole Miss is middle of the pack at passing yards allowed, right? So I think that kind of is a little bit of an advantage for LSU. On the other side of the ball, though, LSU's ranked 72nd in total defense, taking on the best offense in all of college football. LSU ranks 96 in passing yards allowed, and Jackson Dart might win the Heisman based off this game. LSU, to me, they've been better this year on defense. But, here's the problem. They've been better this year on defense, but the offense has regressed as well. And, coming out of a bye, this game's at home. You've got the revenge factor for last year. Ole Miss beat them. What is that really going to mean? I'll give you my predictions. I'll get right into it. Chris, I've got Ole Miss 38, LSU 28. I think we're going to be in for no other reason, a good old-fashioned barn burner of a game. I think it'll be fun, but I think Ole Miss will, they had their get-right game already against Kentucky, and I think they're going to keep trudging on here.
Yeah, I like it. I didn't know which way you were going to go here. We're very similar. I will say this before I get my score prediction. I do agree with you. I think this is going to be a shootout. It seems more likely than not, this game has always been a shootout. Last year I think it was 52-49. That was a crazy game, crazy ending. I don't know if it's quite that high scoring, but no doubt about Ole Miss. This will be the best team they've played so far. And I could probably say the same about LSU, to be honest with you. I think this game will be really, really good. The fact that it's at LSU, I think, is huge, being there at Tiger Stadium. But I got Ole Miss 38, LSU 35. This one goes to overtime, late field goal in overtime for Ole Miss. I'm calling it right here, bank it. But yeah, this game is going to be a good game. I still think Ole Miss is probably the better team. You said it best. LSU's probably taken a little step back offensively this season. Nussmeier has been great. He's still a very good quarterback. But yeah, defensively, I got some questions about the LSU defense. And yeah, Jackson Dart, man, been looking great. So give me Ole Miss.